Saudi Arabia has been hit by massive flash floods. A night of continuous torrential rainfall has flooded streets in Mecca.
The world's 1.8 billion Muslims, this stone is crucial. When Muslims face in the direction of Mecca, they face in the direction of that stone.
What just happened in Kaaba in Mecca shocked the entire world. For generations, the Kaaba has been a symbol of unity, faith, and devotion, a focal point for Muslims to express their deepest reverence to God. But amidst the reverence and piety surrounding this sacred sanctuary, there are moments when the unexpected occurs, shaking the foundations of belief and tradition. What strange event recently transpired within the sacred boundary of the Kaaba?
Whilst we're doing tawaf, it has started to rain a little bit.
And what does it mean for the future of faith and spirituality? Join us as we delve deep into the heart of Mecca and explore the mysterious events that unfolded within the sacred boundaries of the Kaaba that is terrifying the whole world. The fascinating history of Kaaba. The Kaaba, an enormous cube-shaped building, holds a special place in the heart of the Great Mosque of Mecca. It's a symbol of deep spiritual significance in Islam. Legend has it that it was first built way back in the time of Adam, the very first human, under the guidance of divine forces. Although it was hidden and forgotten over the ages, its base stayed strong. Then came Abraham, a key figure in many religions, whom God told to rebuild alongside his son Ishmael, considered an ancestor of Prophet Muhammad. Together, they reconstructed the Kaaba on its original site, and God gifted them a sacred stone, the Black Stone, said to be from paradise, to place in one corner. The Kaaba stands tall, towering at a height of 14 meters, draped in a stunning black silk cloth with intricate golden designs. Muslims from all corners of the globe see it as the holiest place, believing it to be where God's presence is closest to earth. Every day, people worldwide kneel in prayer, facing the Kaaba, the most sacred place in Islam. For Muslims, it's a dream come true to make a journey to Mecca, the holiest city, at least once in their lifetime. They hope to touch the revered black stone, nestled within the walls of the Kaaba, or maybe even step inside this holy sanctuary. Mecca attracts millions of devoted pilgrims each year, especially during Ramadan and the yearly Hajj pilgrimage. During these times, they perform the profound ritual of circling the Kaaba 7 times, which symbolizes their deep devotion and surrender to God. Looking back in time, they discover the fascinating history of the Kaaba. Long before Islam emerged, it used to be the heart of tribal customs, decorated with idols and statues of various gods, where people bowed down in reverence and offered sacrifices. Wars and conflicts among tribes took their toll, causing damage to the sacred structure, which needed repairs over the years. When Islam came into existence, it brought about significant changes for the Kaaba. Before, it was used for idol worship, but Islam brought a purification, returning it to its intended use, a place to worship the one true God. This transformation turned the Kaaba into a symbol of unity and acceptance for Muslims everywhere, breaking down barriers like race, color, and social status. The storms of revelation. Lately, something quite extraordinary has been unfolding around the revered Kaaba in Mecca. Mecca, famous for its wild weather swings, showcases every year a dramatic display of nature's whims. But in a recent twist, it seemed as though Mother Nature herself decided to steal the spotlight, unleashing a series of unusual events that went beyond the usual. Amidst these atmospheric theatrics, a strange and eerie sound echoed around the Kaaba, sending shivers down the spines of all who heard it, leaving them bewildered and puzzled. Was it merely a natural occurrence, or something more mystical, perhaps linked to ancient prophecies? The reputation of Saudi Arabia for extreme weather only added to the sense of mystery and uncertainty. Suddenly, the narrative shifted from the predictable tale of harsh weather to one imbued with spirituality and interest. The air was thick with questions, each one begging for answers that seemed just out of reach. The Kaaba found itself amidst the chaos of nature's fury and mysterious echoes. The situation intensified as heavy rainfall caused sudden floods that swirled through the streets of Mecca. The magnificent Great Mosque stood vulnerable against the rising waters. pilgrims, on their sacred journey, now faced the elements, where their spiritual quest intersected with the unpredictable forces of weather. The storm, a powerful mix of natural elements, displayed its strength with winds surpassing 80 kilometers per hour. An astonishing 45 millimeters of rain fell in just 24 hours. The mosque bore witness to the deluge, making it difficult for worshippers to enter. In response, the city organized a swift and coordinated effort, deploying teams equipped with machinery to clear flooded streets and unclog sewers blocked by debris carried by the floodwaters. As the rivers overflowed, making it harder to save people, the National Meteorological Center gave a detailed description of how strong the storm was. Civil defense authorities warned people about the danger of letting kids be alone in areas prone to flooding, stressing how risky it could be with water levels rising. Amid the chaos, the city's roads became unusable and public transportation shut down. Mecca was filled with a deep sense of fear and loneliness because of this big storm. But in the midst of it all, something more profound emerged. People whispered among themselves, wondering if these events meant something more than just a regular storm. Some even thought it might be a sign of Jesus Christ's return. The locust invasion of Mecca. In an incredibly surprising twist, the calm and sacred atmosphere of Mecca was suddenly disturbed by an enormous swarm of locusts. The Grand Mosque found itself in the middle of a bizarre scene that seemed like something out of a doomsday story. This extraordinary event unfolded when the locusts, known as migratory black grasshoppers, descended upon the city, creating an unreal sight around the holy area. These insects filled the air with a sense of danger as they swarmed around cleaners and worshippers, disrupting the very essence of the place where millions of pilgrims gather each year. People couldn't help but wonder what could have caused such a remarkable event to happen in this revered location. The locusts, appearing in overwhelming numbers, led the authorities at Islam's holiest site to take swift and decisive action. A massive cleaning operation that involved 22 specialized teams, totaling 1,338 individuals. As per the Times of Israel, officials in Mecca are urgently addressing a concerning situation. A swarm of locusts threatens the safety and comfort of those visiting the holy site. They stress the importance of acting quickly to rid the area of these insects, ensuring the well-being of the pilgrims at God's house. The scale of their response highlights the seriousness of the issue, turning what started as an unexpected problem into a massive endeavor to protect the sanctity of the sacred grounds. The world of these locusts is interesting, adding an extraordinary dimension to the unfolding events. Typically, desert locusts appear after periods of heavy rain following droughts. They feed on new plants and lay eggs in damp soil as part of their life cycle. However, what's particularly captivating is their unique behavior known as gregarization. This involves a remarkable transformation. Initially solitary, green, and active at night, these insects change into larger, black, and yellow creatures that actively seek out others of their kind. When locusts gather in huge groups, they become like mighty armies, hungry for plants. These insects, changed by their crowded conditions, eat a lot and can travel far because of their increased energy and larger wings. They journey across long distances, looking for fresh leaves and good weather. This complex interaction of nature not only shows how locusts cause trouble, but also reveals the incredible power of nature in the important place of Mecca. In 2018, something remarkable happened in the Arabian desert. Two powerful cyclones, named Munu and Luban, swept through the region. Instead of wreaking havoc alone, they teamed up with nature to set the stage for an extraordinary event. As Munu and Luban passed, they left behind more than just chaos. They created something unexpected: temporary lakes in the heart of the Rub al-Khali, one of the driest places on Earth. This site was as rare as finding an oasis in the desert. But these lakes weren't just water bodies. They were incubators for life. Locusts found these temporary lakes to be their paradise. With ample water and food, they seized the opportunity to multiply. In just 9 months, they went from a small population to an astonishing 8,000 times larger. Swarms of locusts filled the skies, turning day into night as they descended upon the land. Social media erupted with videos and photos capturing this breathtaking event. Even during the chaos, there was a sense of wonder and awe among residents and locals who witnessed nature's incredible display. locusts swarmed into the city, coming from the north before the authorities could stop them. It was like a dramatic story happening right in front of everyone's eyes. People felt both scared and amazed. However, the Saudi authorities showed how well they could handle the situation. They managed to control the locust invasion, but it wasn't the first time something like this had happened in the kingdom. Locusts causing trouble had become a regular thing lately. This made people wonder why it kept happening. Some started thinking about whether there was a deeper meaning behind it all. In a place where people often see everything through the lens of their beliefs and symbols, it made sense to think about it spiritually. Also, the weather in the Arabian Peninsula seemed to be changing. There were more cyclones than before, and they were getting stronger. This wasn't just by chance, it was because the world's weather patterns were changing too. The Indian Ocean getting warmer has caused big changes in how cyclones form. These storms used to be rare in places like the Persian Gulf, but now they're happening more often. This shift in weather isn't just making cyclones stronger, it's also causing other extreme events, like heavy rain in dry areas, turning them into lush green landscapes. Saudi Arabia's earthquakes. In 2020, Saudi Arabia encountered an extraordinary occurrence, a rare earthquake that seemed to awaken the very ground it shook. This earth-shaking event, measuring 4.9 on the Richter scale, sent ripples through the air, causing windows to rattle and the earth to sway in several cities, including the revered sites of Mecca and Medina. While the earthquake didn't leave visible scars or cause casualties, its mysterious tremors left a lasting impression on people's minds, sparking discussions about an uncertain future. Forward to the year 2023, where nature has chosen a different spectacle. A relentless downpour, a constant tune of raindrops that have turned once familiar streets into a watery mystery. The majestic Great Mosque of Mecca finds itself encircled by uncertainty, its very foundations tested by the rising waters. Pilgrims, those who seek comfort and guidance from the divine, are faced with a daunting challenge as they embark on their spiritual journey. Not only must they traverse the path of enlightenment, but they also find themselves grappling with the unexpected obstacle of flooded roads and pathways. This adds an interesting twist to their sacred adventure. As the city's vital lifelines, the roads and transportation networks, succumb to the overwhelming floodwaters, a captivating drama unfolds. Overflowing rivers further worsen the already dire situation, testing the resourcefulness of those leading the rescue efforts. In this fluid spectacle, nature's fury is on full display, with winds raging at speeds exceeding 80 kilometers per hour and rainfall measuring an astonishing 45 millimeters in just 24 hours, as reported by the National Meteorological Center. It's as if nature, having previously assumed the role of a conductor orchestrating earthquakes, now transforms into a formidable adversary, unleashing its raw power upon the stage of human existence. The calm and peaceful atmosphere of the Great Mosque suddenly meets an unusual twist as heavy rain pours down, turning the sacred space into a formidable obstacle for worshippers. The city springs into action, rallying its everyday heroes armed with powerful machines. They toil tirelessly, working to clear the flooded streets and purge the sewers of debris carried by the wild waters. To keep everyone safe, the authorities issue warnings, urging people to steer clear of the submerged areas and heed safety instructions. The mystical melodies and divine whispers. In the deep dark of the night, when everything around the Kaaba was quiet and peaceful, a strange melody emerged, making everyone nearby feel a chill run down their spine. It was as if a mysterious trumpet played a majestic tune, breaking the silence of the sacred walls of the Kaaba precisely at 3 in the morning. People who heard it couldn't believe their ears. They described it as something out of this world, lasting for about 10 seconds before fading away into the night. After the music stopped, those who were there couldn't stop talking about it. Some said they felt a strange trembling in the air, like there was some kind of mystical energy around them. Others even claimed they felt a wave of shock pass through them, freezing them in place for a moment. And a lucky few said they saw a brief flash of light in the sky, as if the whole universe had paused to witness this magical moment. Enveloped in its mysterious allure, the eerie sound gained a fresh breath of life on social media, quickly captivating digital audiences far and wide. Online chatter erupted, sparking a myriad of interpretations. Some listeners, deeply moved, interpreted it as a divine message, a celestial nudge urging introspection and a deep dive into one's conscience. Doubters, however, waved it off as a cleverly crafted hoax, attributing it to a tech-savvy mastermind armed with complicated audio equipment. Meanwhile, others entertained the idea of a mischievous prank, envisioning a grand spectacle intended to mystify and captivate unsuspecting onlookers. As the echoes of this mysterious audio faded, another interesting video surfaced from the mysterious depths of the Kaaba. This time, the focus was on a recitation from the Quran, but with an unexpected and delightful twist. In the quiet darkness of the night, something extraordinary unfolded atop the revered Kaaba in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Instead of human lips, the air was filled with melodious verses that seemed to spring forth from the beak of a majestic bird perched upon the sacred roof. Whether it was a dove, a pigeon, or perhaps a messenger from the heavens, remained a mystery, adding to the enchantment of the moment. The gentle, soothing tones of the bird's song carried verses praising the magnificence and compassion of God, blending seamlessly with the timeless rhythm of the Holy Quran. These captivating events, wrapped in an aura of mystery and splendor, stirred a flurry of questions in the hearts of those who witnessed or heard of them. Were they simply natural occurrences, or did they venture into the realm of the supernatural, hinting at deep spiritual meanings? The Kaaba served as the stage for these inexplicable happenings, weaving a variety of interest and wonder. As the world pondered over these events, various spiritual interpretations blossomed, nurturing a rich variety of beliefs and contemplations among Muslims and Christians alike. Ancient prophecies amid modern floods. The ancient prophecies found in religious texts like the Quran and the Book of John offer captivating tales of how humans perceive spirituality. Take, for instance, a verse from the Quran's Surah Al-Mulk, which paints a vivid picture of the sky showering abundant rain while the earth cracks open. This imagery has sparked a myriad of interpretations over the years. Recent flash floods in Saudi Arabia provide a modern backdrop against which these interpretations come alive. Some see these floods as a divine sign, reflecting God's displeasure and serving as a warning of impending punishment, drawing directly from the Quranic verse. It's a dramatic perspective that adds a layer of reverence and surprise to natural disasters. On the other hand, some approach these ancient prophecies more metaphorically, seeing them through extended lenses rather than literal ones. This variety of thought adds richness to the discourse, inviting them to ponder the deeper meanings behind these ancient texts and their relevance to our contemporary world. To them, the floods don't mean anger from the heavens, but instead, they see it as a sign of chaos and ruin that's been foretold to happen when the world nears its end. This way of looking at things adds an interesting twist, mixing what's happening with deeper meanings. Some people, even though they know about the Quran's teachings, find inspiration in the words of Jesus found in the Book of John. Jesus talked about a time when people wouldn't just worship in special places, hinting at a change to come. This adds another layer to the story. In this view, the floods aren't just a natural disaster. They're a message pushing humanity towards a stronger, more personal connection with what's divine. But in the big debate of what causes things to happen, there's a clash between believing in a higher power and what science tells people. The floods are often blamed on climate change nowadays, suggesting that human actions are behind them. This comparison between faith and science brings a fresh twist to the old argument about what causes things to happen. As people explore different viewpoints, it becomes clear that everyone sees the floods in their way, just like they all experience life differently. Instead of making the floods seem less important, this variety of perspectives makes them even more fascinating. It makes people stop and think about how our beliefs, nature, and what makes us human connected together in a complex web. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In the bustling heart of Mecca, under the blazing Arabian sun, the Kaaba stood tall and solemn, its ancient walls bearing witness to centuries of prayers and devotion. But on a particular day, an extraordinary event unfolded within this sacred sanctuary, shaking the very core of belief and stirring disbelief across the world. A sudden and intense downpour transformed the streets of Mecca into rushing rivers, flooding parts of the city, including the revered Great Mosque where the Kaaba resides. This downpour disrupted the pilgrimage, putting lives at risk. Pilgrims were forced to navigate through the water, some seeking shelter in nearby buildings. To ensure safety, authorities closed roads and evacuated certain areas. The floods wreaked havoc on infrastructure, causing power outages and water shortages. As if nature's fury wasn't enough, a colossal sandstorm swept over Mecca, shrouding the sky in dense dust and impairing visibility. The storm inflicted damage on buildings, including the towering clock tower near the Kaaba. Flights were grounded, and warnings advised residents and pilgrims to stay indoors to avoid the dusty air, particularly harmful to those with respiratory issues. To compound matters, a rare earthquake, measuring 4.9 on the Richter scale, rattled Saudi Arabia, including the sacred cities of Mecca and Medina. While no significant damage ensued, it left many anxious about potential future tremors and raised concerns about the stability of structures such as the Kaaba and the Great Mosque. Presently, relentless rains persist, triggering flash floods that inundate streets and jeopardize historic sites like the Great Mosque. Pilgrims who embarked on their journey to Mecca for spiritual fulfillment now find themselves grappling with harsh weather conditions, prompting concerns for their well-being. Could these events be seen as a test of faith, a reminder of the unpredictable forces of nature, or something else entirely? Let us have your opinion in the comments below. Uniting threads of redemption. In the big collection of stories about saying sorry, forgiving, and learning from religion, there's a really special one called the Parable of the Prodigal Son. It's not just a tale from the Bible, it's also found in some Islamic writings. This story is about a young guy who's itching for adventure and asks his dad for his share of the family money. It's a gutsy move that kicks off a big change in his life. So, off he goes, living large and blowing through all his cash on parties and wild stuff. But soon, the fun fades, and he's left shattered and broken-hearted. His journey from riches to rags is like watching a movie. It's a clear picture of how young people can make bad choices and face tough consequences. But then, when he hits rock bottom, something clicks in his head. Surrounded by the mess he's made, he decides to turn things around. Returning home with humility and a longing for forgiveness sets the scene for a powerful reunion. As he crosses the threshold back into his father's embrace, he is met with unexpected warmth and joy, adding a deeply touching layer to this story, a celebration that speaks to the universal theme of redemption. This tale not only highlights the limitless love and mercy of God, but also explores the complexities of family dynamics. The older brother, brimming with resentment and jealousy, adds a human element to the narrative, revealing the complicated dance between forgiveness, envy, and familial ties. Moving beyond this parable, they explore the rich variety of shared beliefs between Islam and Christianity. These faiths intertwine like threads, tracing back to a common origin. Shared prophets such as Abraham, Moses, and David weave through both religious traditions, creating a vast panorama of beliefs that unite rather than divide. Both Islam and Christianity hold Jesus in high regard, though they see him through different perspectives, as a revered prophet and Messiah in Islam, and as the Son of God and Savior in Christianity. These viewpoints offer a rich variety of religious diversity. Imagine it like looking at a beautiful mosaic, where each belief adds a unique piece to the overall picture. The differences in doctrine are like examining the complicated details of this mosaic. They include understanding Jesus' nature and role, how scriptures are interpreted and regarded, the complex ideas surrounding salvation, and the various rituals of worship. Rather than causing problems, these differences act as lively threads that have stimulated centuries of discussion, argument, and sometimes tension. Both faiths also share common beliefs about the end times, such as resurrections, judgments, and the cosmic drama of heaven and hell. It's as though they're part of the same story, albeit seen through different lenses. The mysteries of the end times. In Christian beliefs, there's this powerful idea about God's judgment when everything wraps up, like a grand finale. It's like everyone's actions and how close they are to God get put under a microscope. But exactly when this big event happens is kept secret, making it feel like a thrilling mystery story. However, during all this excitement, believers are told to keep an eye out for little clues, hints that might signal God's return or Jesus showing up again in all his glory. The Bible talks about these signs and events poetically. It's like a treasure map guiding people through the wild ride of the end times. There are stories of wars and rumors of wars scattered throughout, but they're not meant to scare anyone. Countries fight each other, kingdoms clash fiercely, and the earth itself seems to suffer, with hunger and shaking grounds happening in different places. These happenings, though confusing, are like clues pointing towards a big finale, the return of God and the Last Judgment. Exploring deeper into what the Bible says about the future, they see that wars, earthquakes, hunger, and natural disasters have a deeper meaning. They aren't just scary events. They carry a big message, showing that important things are about to happen. These signs are like a mysterious dance, telling people to pay attention, reflect on themselves, and get ready spiritually. Shifting focus to Islamic beliefs about the end of times, they find similar ideas. In the Hadith, which is like a special book of teachings from Prophet Muhammad, there's a really interesting prediction. It talks about something unusual happening to the Kaaba, which is super important in Islam. It says that this might happen because of someone named Dhul Suwain, who comes from Ethiopia. He's said to have done a bad thing, stealing the cover and treasure from the Kaaba, and this is supposed to happen at a time when there aren't many good Muslims around. This story connects to verses from the Quran, especially one called Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 96. It gets even more exciting when it mentions Gog and Magog, like characters from a big adventure. Dhul Suwain shows up in the time of Prophet Isa, and there's a big showdown with some Muslim soldiers. Just when things seem bad, a miracle happens. A gentle breeze blows from Yemen, and suddenly, all the good Muslims are taken away, leaving behind a world full of not-so-nice people. Across various religious beliefs, there's this powerful image painted, like a vivid picture of the world's end. It's not just a scary story, it's an invitation to think deeply about what's ahead for humanity. Whether it's talked about in the Bible or the Hadith, these signs are like whispers, urging people to look beyond the everyday stuff and get their hearts and minds ready for something huge. What are your thoughts on what happened in Kaaba? Let us have your opinions in the comments below.